Hello, hello. What's up, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka ReviewKingMB, and I am here to talk about something that I actually wish that I did more often. Talking about comic books, talking about graphic novels that I own and that I've read. This time, I'm here to talk about Batman the Killing Joke. This is a book that came out, I believe, in 1988, the same year I was born. It was written by Alan Moore, and it was drawn and colored by Brian Bolland. And this book, the reason why I wanted to read it and review it and talk about it now is because, well, for one, it's one of the greatest Batman stories, I think, of all time. It's one of the darkest, it's one of the most infamous for so many different reasons, but DC animated films are finally making a true adaptation of this book. It's coming out this year. It's very much anticipated by many people, including myself. So I said, well, let's revisit this. It's been so long since I've gone back and look at this. And man, oh man, is this something to behold. At the very beginning, you get this cool shot of Batman driving up, showing up to Arkham Asylum. I love the shot of him going past the corridors. You see the one door that has Harvey Dent there, and then you see the unknown name. You see, he walks in there, and it's the Joker. And Joker is playing cards on the table, and Batman, it's really almost the most vulnerable you've seen Batman. Especially in this type of situation, where he's basically just going to the Joker to say, look, I want to talk. I want to talk about how our histories have been fucking insane. How we constantly have this relationship where we go back and forth, and it's not going to end well. It's going to end with one of us killing each other, and the other one has to live with that, mostly himself. If he had to kill the Joker, he knows it would screw him up. So he wants to prevent that. He wants to avoid that in any way possible. So he's trying to talk to the Joker and say, look, let's sort this out. Let's figure out what the fuck is going on. And of course, Joker isn't reacting until you finally see that it isn't the Joker. It's a guy in clown makeup, an imposter. The Joker has escaped Arkham Asylum. Surprise, surprise! I'm sure it's like the 25th time that he's done it. But still, Batman freaks the fuck out, and he's going crazy, like, what's gonna happen? I love the shot of him in the Batcave, and he's talking to Alfred, like, what now? How many times has this happened to where, like, I have wanted them to keep Joker in there forever? For the rest of his life, just keep him in that cell, because the second he does break out, I have to sit there and worry and wonder what he's going to do next. How much worse is it going to be when he goes out there? And the very first thing Joker does once he's broken out. Now again, I know the story, it's been a while, but I knew what he was going to do. But reading it again and seeing just how fast-paced all of it is, like there's no slowing down as far as events going. And the first thing he does, it still shocked me. It still creeped me out. It still disturbed me to see Barbara open the door and Joker's there. He shoots her. They knock Gordon out, take him away, kidnap him. And it's implied, like he starts tugging at her clothes and he has the camera, and I'm reading this going, holy fuck. What is he going to do to this poor girl? Barbara Gordon is a character, like just her becoming Batgirl. That's a character that I love. She's one of my favorite female superhero characters of all time. Not just DC, but of all time. So watching something this tragic, this brutal, this fucked up happen to her, it's hard to look at, it's hard to read, it's just hard to deal with. Even the scene where Batman goes to the hospital and he sees her in there, and sure, she's immediately like, hey, he has my father, we need to save my father, but she doesn't have her legs, like she's paralyzed, the doctor confirms it, and then she starts to get into just how crazy the Joker was, how different he was, how much more vicious he was, and you could tell this is going to screw her up for life. But then you cut to the Joker at the carnival, and he has Gordon, he strips him down naked, has him tied up, chained up, and he's torturing the fuck out of Gordon. I mean, this is bad. And we get some flashbacks of seemingly the Joker's origin. I've stated before, how I don't even like the idea of saying, like, hey, here's the Joker's origin, here it is, here's the story, here's the details, here's what happens to him, here's why he is crazy. It's like, I don't ever need that. I get the appeal of it. I get it's like, holy shit, it's his origin, you know, it gets people excited, some people. But I love the character more. I think the Joker is that much more interesting when you don't know his origin, when he does give multiple versions of his backstory, like in The Dark Knight, and it works. It just adds so many layers to the character, the mystery behind him. And so, sure, you might say that there's some of that being peeled back, where we might be getting a little bit too much. But I will say, for the story that we got, it is a good story. It is something that you can emotionally relate to, seeing this guy who had a good job, but now he's trying to be a stand-up comedian. It's not really working out. He's not making money. He has a pregnant wife, and they're in a shitty neighborhood, and he feels like a loser. He can't provide for her. All of this stuff, and he's so desperate to the point where he decides to join this mob group to do this one job just to get enough money to get out of the rut. And she dies, and then he ends up becoming the Joker. It's interesting. It is interesting. But when you still have that in the back of your head, like, I never needed to know the Joker's origin, there's a moment in the story where Joker even himself reveals, well, yeah, that could be my origin, but to be honest, I remember it differently every time. I love that line. I love him saying in this story that even though you're reading this book and that you just got presented this particular origin, it might be different tomorrow. It might be different next week. I remember my past, my origin, differently. And just his whole plot is, as crazy as it is, just to, let's take Jim Gordon, one of the most sane and stand-up guys in Gotham, the police department, and let me drive him nuts. Let me do all of this fucked up stuff to him. Let's strip him naked and put him in this room that has all of these pictures that I took of his daughter naked and bloodied and whatever the fuck he did to her. Let me torture Gordon with all of this to drive him mad. And that's just fucking nuts. You really get inside the head, the psyche of the Joker, how he views the world, and just that's some of the best stuff that you can do with this character, is to get his point of view on things. He's still doing the most heinous, despicable, unforgivable things in the world. But then in the same story, you're getting just what he thinks about life, what he thinks about people, and you understand it to a weird, fucked up sense. The ending, I mean, maybe I'm spoiling too much in case you haven't already read it, but all I'll say about the ending is that it's very ambiguous. It's very much like, what the fuck happened? What is this? Kind of creepy. I don't know. I mean, maybe I would have liked a more definitive, like, hey, this is what happens, but I get it. This whole story is fucked up. This whole story is filled with mystery and what's the truth and what's not. So to give us an ending like that is in tune with this writing. So obviously I enjoy this story, this book so much. The Killing Joke is one of, if not my favorite Joker story, Batman story, comic book story in general of all time, and it's pretty short. It's a quick read. Let me know in the comments below, guys, if you've read The Killing Joke. What do you think of it? Do you like it? Do you love it? Do you dislike it? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!